A Heartless felon sentenced to more than 14 years in federal prison last week for a carjacking in Tremont was sentenced to an additional 15 years Tuesday after he pleaded guilty to a 2015 gang killing. Antoine Ballsy Palmer admitted to killing 22-year-old Arthur Archie Davis III in June 2015 in Cleveland's North Broadway neighborhood. Prosecutors agreed to drop the aggravated murder charge and Palmer pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter with a criminal gang activity specification. Judge Nancy Margaret Russo immediately sentenced him to 15 years in state prison. Russo ordered him to serve this sentence before he began serving the 14.5-year sentence in federal prison. Palmer is already 2 years into a 7-year sentence in another 2015 gang shooting, and he will serve the involuntary manslaughter sentence concurrently with a 7-year sentence. Both shootings came in the midst of a violent summer-long gun feud between members of two sects of the Heartless Felons, the Broadway sect, of which prosecutors say Palmer was a high-ranking member, and the Fleet sect, with which prosecutors say Davis was aligned. The rival Broadway Boys and Fleet Boys have been trading gunfire since April, as gun violence across the Cleveland spiked to levels not seen in nearly a decade. Davis drove his girlfriend's Oldsmobile Alero on Cable Avenue near Adolpha Avenue into the Broadway sect's territory about 2:30 p.m. on June 20, 2015, police said. Two men emerged from the backyard of a White House and opened fire on the car, police said. The shooters ran through the backyard of a neighboring home and onto Portage Avenue, then fled the neighborhood. Officers found Davis slumped over the steering wheel. He died at the scene. The second shooter was never identified. Police found 29mm bullet casings at the scene that ballistics tests matched to a Glock 9mm that investigators tied to Palmer, according to court records. Investigators also found a video on the cell phone of another Heartless Felon Broadway sect gang member, Antonio Papa Houston, that was recorded after the killing that showed Palmer holding a gun and taunting Davis, court records said. Houston was convicted alongside Palmer in the other 2015 gang shooting. He was also tied to a number of other shootings and is serving 44 years in prison. Palmer was among 5 people charged for a series of carjackings in Cleveland's Tremont neighborhood in July and August 2015 that left the near West Side neighborhood on edge. A jury found him guilty in May.